This is The Entrepreneur Way with Neil Ball. Unlocking the secrets of successful entrepreneurs 7 days a week. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Twitter at Neil D. Ball. Napoleon Hill said the power of the mastermind is the driving force. To discover how you can unlock the potential in your business using the power of a mastermind, go to mastermindunlimited.com. And now, here is your host, Neil Ball.
Hello everybody, Neil Ball here, and thank you so much for joining me today on The Entrepreneur Way. I am so excited to bring you our special guest today, Jay Scott. The Entrepreneur Way is about the entrepreneur's journey, the mindset, the commitment, the sacrifice, failures and successes. According to Dr. John DeMartini, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. Because of that, the Entrepreneur Way asks the questions so we all get the insight, inspiration and ideas. Jay, welcome to the show. Are you ready to share your version of the Entrepreneur Way with us?
Neil, thank you for having me, and I am ready. Let's do this.
Great. Jay Scott is a personal trainer who battled food addiction, obesity and a binge eating disorder and overcame it. He has helped hundreds of people do the same with his information and training. Jay is the founder of iScience Fit online personal training, and he has written for sites like The Good Men Project and Mind Body Green. Jay also has had over 30 TV appearances on ABC, NBC and CBS. Jay, can you provide us some more insight into your business and personal life to allow the listeners to get to know more about you and who you are?
Yeah, I was a kid who basically was a little bit overweight, always short, still kind of short. Sorry, I can't fix that one. I wore glasses and I had a self-image issue, and that got me into fitness. And when I got into fitness, I turned that, it made me feel a lot better, a lot more self-confident. So I turned that into a business, personal training. And I have a teacher's heart, so I love to teach people how to do things, and I'm very patient with that. I don't mind repeating myself over and over. And because I'm the same way, it takes me a long time to get something. So I started to do that, went into personal training and worked at several places that were businesses. So I was kind of learning on somebody else's dime. Then when I was 30, I kind of reached a low point where nothing was happening. I felt, I'm going to be honest, like a loser. You know, that's what I kept thinking to myself. And I started blogging, got a couple of clients, gained some momentum, built a personal training business in Lexington, Kentucky. It soon became the best and highest earning in-home personal training business in Lexington, Kentucky. And then from there, I started to branch out online. And so this is my second business, and it's really a startup. It's called iScience Fit online personal training. And I also have a podcast. I got a YouTube channel, but that's where we're at.
Okay, great. So what is it you enjoy most about what you do?
Helping people. I love, like being on here today, we're not talking particularly about fitness, but if I can share things that I've been through and they can help other people, that's what I derive the most joy from, more so than any other thing, more so than money, more so than material things, more so than anything else. I love to help people.
Is that what drives you as well? Would you say that's the driving force behind you, or is there something else that drives you beyond helping people?
That's what drives me, helping people in any aspect that I can with their health, with their weight loss, with their business, any way that I can help them. That's what I derive my motivation from. And I get up every day, and of course I want more YouTube subscribers, more podcast listeners, because I see that as a way to help more people.
Yeah.
And then secondary, as we all know, we are human and we like to have positive reinforcement. So it also gives you that positive reinforcement that you're doing a good job. And so I'm not saying I'm without flaw here. I'm saying that the first and primary reason is to help people, and then all my selfish stuff seems to follow behind.
Excellent. So you sound like you're a really busy guy, actually. So how do you relax when you're at home and you're not working in your business? What is it you get up to?
This is a good question because it depends. If I'm not totally burned out or feeling anxiety or burnout coming on, I will watch YouTube videos that are educational. So I do that on my TV a lot or on the computer. And I'll watch, and I kind of consider that still learning.
Yeah.
But lately, I've been approaching that threshold. I can feel it. I start doing I'm a little bit OCD, so I'll start doing some weird stuff. Like I'll start washing my hands too often. I mean, this sounds crazy, but that's what happens because I'm really pushing myself hard with my business and my fitness and all that. And so I will watch more mindless things, either Netflix or I'll watch YouTube that is sort of mindless. Like I've been watching Star Wars reviews of the new Star Wars movie lately, and that helps take my mind off of the business aspect altogether because sometimes I'm just like, okay, I've got to have a break. My brain needs a break. So I'll do that. I also went and I'll go shoot basketball. So I went yesterday, shot basketball for 2 hours, and it really did help to free up my brain. It's almost like a rest for your brain when you do something that requires it to think about something else.
I find with doing the entrepreneur thing and having business and things, you're always working on your mind, or you're always thinking or ticking over in your mind one way or the other about this stuff and thinking about it in some way or other. So it is important to obviously break away from that somehow and do something that you do enjoy as well. So that's great. Do you have any entrepreneurial role models that you can think of?
Yes, Walt Disney is my biggest role model. I just feel like he created a whole other world, and it started with him doing something that was very innovative, which was a full-length cartoon motion picture, and he was the first person to do that. And then he kind of transitioned that into Disney World, Disneyland first, and then Disney World. And I feel like he is an inspiration. Now, the company now, I think they still carry on Disney World, Disneyland perfectly. Everything's wonderful with that. But I don't want to get into deep things that who knows what Walt would have actually done in terms of market saturation and grabbing up segments and all that stuff. But his ideas and his principles were amazing. And I love his saying curiosity, confidence, courage, and constancy. The 4 C's, that's what you need. And I have that stuck on my computer, and I look at it every day.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. In fact, I assume you've read his book, read his biography. He had an amazing journey, didn't he, before he got...
Oh, yeah, and such tragedy at times, too.
Yeah, very, very interesting story, that. It's a good read for anybody, that. So what I'd like to do now is if we can just move to the point before you became an entrepreneur, before you sort of took that first step, wherever that point is, or you think of as your starting point, the thing that made it happen. What difficulties did you have to overcome when you started your business?
Well, really, I came from an area where the biggest goal was either to work at a railroad or a factory.
Yeah.
And so I could not see because the internet wasn't huge. I'm 36. The internet wasn't huge when I was 22, 23, 18, 19. Mm-hmm. And really, if I would have been born a little bit later, I would have started a lot earlier, I think. But I was in the middle, basically, of a cow pasture. I'm not kidding. I was born, and I live in the middle. On 2 sides, there are woods. On 2 sides, there are cow pastures. And so coming from there without the internet connecting the world like it is now, I was aiming for moving to Lexington, Kentucky. That was like a huge thing. I thought, what if I moved to Lexington, Kentucky, and I was a personal trainer? So that's where I was starting from. And so it took a long time for me to build up and go up these notches on the ladder till I could see, I can have a worldwide podcast, or I can get on TV. So it took so long to climb up that ladder that it really didn't get started until I was 30.
Yeah, I think the internet's opened up possibilities for all sorts of things, like obviously podcasts, and just get into mass markets in ways you could never do before, hasn't it? For many people, it's fantastic, really. So did you have any doubts that delayed your starting of your business? Was there anything that held you back or you had to overcome? Yeah,
networking is still one of my bigger struggles. I have problems with it because I don't want to, I'm using air quotes here, bother people. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I always think. I grew up like that. If you go over to your friend's house, do not take anything unless they are just handing it to you. And always do this and always do that. And so when it came down to getting out there and asking people for things, I had a lot of trouble with that. So my networking was something that held me back. I wouldn't reach out to people. I wouldn't go to events and conferences. And so anybody that's starting out now, I recommend you email people, you get in touch with them via social media, you attend events, you do as much as you can to network, because that is a big, 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 giant key to success in this modern age.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, the people you know is something that it's great to tap into that, isn't it? Because you can grow your business and get referrals and all sorts of things from people that you know. So it's very useful to have a big network of people. So, what mistakes did you make that slowed your journey? If you were to do it again, that you think you could do quicker?
Well, I would study networking. I would study marketing. But, going back even farther than that, I would say, Jay, you can do this. See, I had it in my mind all the way back from high school that unless you had connections, you couldn't get anywhere. So there was no use. I would maybe email somebody and then they wouldn't email back and I'd say, well, see, I told you that didn't work. I told you it doesn't work. They don't like me, And so it's a terrible mindset because it takes time after time. You got to email 10 people and then maybe one gets back to you, whatever it takes. And it doesn't matter if you have to have connections to succeed because that very well may be true. Yeah. But you've got to make those connections. Mm-hmm. And that's your responsibility. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I would have told myself to start a lot sooner.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's brilliant. So what are some of the things that you did before you started your business that would be helpful tips for some of the listeners who haven't yet taken that first step of the entrepreneur's way? Is there anything that you can think of that comes to mind that would be useful for people to know about?
Yeah, is there somewhere that you can do what you're going to be doing in your business, that you can do it for a while on somebody else's dime? So can you work at a donut shop for a while if you want to own one?
Yeah.
Can you get in there and see the nuts and bolts of whatever it is before you start out on your own? Because that was one thing I did right in my 20s. I had a job at about 4 different YMCAs, and I had a job at a couple gyms, and I lifeguarded every summer. And hard as that is to believe, it teaches you about helping people. It teaches you about keeping your eyes open because somebody can die at any moment. Mm-hmm. A lot of lifeguards don't act like that could happen, but it most certainly can. And I've had a few experiences in my career. But you want to get out there and do things, even if it's not directly connected with what you're doing. If you can do that for a couple years, even a year, and get some time, get some experience, it's going to help you when you start your own business for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good to have insight into different perspectives from different things, isn't it, really? Because you can always draw from that in the future. Just moving forward now, if we go to the entrepreneurial journey itself of actually when you started your business, and do you think that culture is important from the beginning in a business? Because obviously it's something that different people have different opinions on. So I was just wondering how you felt about that.
Yeah, I'm learning about this now as I work with different assistants, and I've also overseen some people in the past. But I think that it's all about giving somebody objectives is one of the culture things that I love. Give somebody an objective, and as long as they get that done in a timely manner, everything's okay. And I think it was General Patton that said, tell people what you need done and then let them surprise you with their ingenuity. Let them find their own path and don't micromanage. Mm-hmm. And so that's one thing that I want to set up in my culture. Also, just a culture of love and friendship, but with a hierarchy. And what I mean by that is totally business. Not I'm better than you, but if somebody is the head of marketing and you're not, you need to do what the head of marketing says, Yeah. And so I think that that's very important, that you set these frameworks even before you start. And I'm getting these things and writing them down even before I hire on a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good thing to do. I mean, I read Michael Gerber's The E-Myth, and it talks about that type of thing in there. And it's good to get the sort of structure in place so that as you grow your business, you're able to scale it because you've got all these things in place in the beginning. Although at first it almost seems like something that takes a lot of time and you've got not enough time to do it. Eventually it will pay dividends further down the line, I suppose. So, right, knowing what you know now, is there anything that you, if you'd known it when you started out, would have helped you to shortcut the learning curve?
Well, there's a lot of things that if I would have known that they would pay off, I would have done them. One of them is YouTube, because I was looking at YouTube videos in 2007, 2006, and if I would have started making fitness YouTube videos then, I would have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, probably. Now, there's always a chance that you're just not good enough, right? I'm not trying to, toot my own horn here. But what I am saying is that there's a lot of things that looking back, you can say, I wish I would have started that. But as far as the truth and the honesty of it, you have to go with your heart. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I didn't want to make YouTube videos. I would have rather done something else. I did stand-up comedy for a year and a half. I did a lot of different things. And I wouldn't be the same dude that I am now if I hadn't have chosen those things and then maxed each one of those out as far as I wanted to take it and switched. So I think that you just have to look at the landscape and make your best decision. But the big thing, take action. Do something.
Yeah, great advice there. So how much do you feel that in your business, gut feeling influences your decisions in your business?
I think that it needs to influence it a bit more. I think that I'm very analytical, and I tend to overthink before I take action. And I think that that's something that you need to kind of take action and learn along the way. Mm-hmm. And there's an old story about Arnold. It's in his book, Total Recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. And he was going to open an apartment complex. He had this planned out. He thought about it long enough that he had planned it out. He was going to get an apartment complex. He was going to rent out some of the apartments to actors he knew. This is when he wasn't a big star. He was. This was the 70s. And he was going to borrow money to do that. And then they were going to pay his rent, with their rent. And he was going to have a free place to live, maybe make a little money. He told one of his friends about it who was notoriously paranoid. And that guy said, well, what if they don't pay their bill? What if one of them, spills a bunch of stuff or lets the tub overflow and floods down on your apartment? What if? And he said by the end of that conversation that guy even had Arnold scared. He said he even had me scared. So Arnold is notorious for taking action and then learning along the way. It can come back to bite you if you don't think quite enough before you take the action. But for the most part in business, if you sit down and you think about something for a good period of time, maybe even sleep on it, and you still want to do it, you should try to dip your toe in that water, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, another great story, isn't it? Arnold Schwarzenegger, and what an amazing rise he's had with his various careers. He's quite an inspiring guy, really. But now what I'd like to do is, life is about constant change, whether you like it or not. And the only constant is change. So how do you try to keep up with change? What is it you do?
Well, I'm not good with change, but I am good at seeing things, at seeing things that are happening and will be something cool in the future. I feel like I'm good at that. Mm-hmm. But as for changing things, like if somebody came in here and said, we're going to switch out your bed here. We're just going to give you another mattress. We're going to take your covers and we're going to put some new covers down here. I would say, we call them covers here in Kentucky. My covers. But I would say, man, I don't think I want you to do that because I'm going to have to get used to that.
Yeah.
And so traveling is a problem for me. I like to have everything in the place that it is. I'm sort of a homebody. These things are negative. So I'm a kind of somebody who goes both ways with that. I don't embrace change readily, but I can predict it pretty well and then try to start capitalizing on it for the future, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think the thing with changes is that in business, things are always changing around you. I mean, you talked about YouTube, for example. If you think back to when you started and YouTube wasn't probably that big a thing, or the internet wasn't really around when you were younger, and now it's such a big thing. And the world's always changing in business, so you've got to sort of go with the change, haven't you? You've got to learn to embrace change because it is constant. Everything is changing, whether you see it or not. And I think it's very easy to sort of look at the world and think to yourself, well, it doesn't seem to be changing right now because it's the same this year as it was last year. But there's always things that are changing. Technology is always getting better, and things are always moving forward. So something to be, you've got to definitely keep an eye on, I think, in business.
An interesting one is Periscope. Somebody said you should start using Periscope, and I sat down when Periscope came out, and I said, do I want to start using this? And I knew it was time to get in. This was, 8-9 months ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I thought, this is time to get in. And I literally looked at it and I thought, I don't see anything that special about it. And that was my decision, and I just didn't go after it. And I don't know how it's panning out now. I haven't heard a whole lot about it, but I kind of pushed it to the background, and I kind of went with my gut feeling on that no, I did not want to get in early on that for some reason. I don't know why.
So what's your favourite book on entrepreneurialism, business, personal development, leadership or motivation? And can you tell us why you've chosen that book?
Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. It's like the OG original self-help book. And it's by a plastic surgeon, strangely. And he noticed that when he fixed some people's nose or deformity, that they felt much better. And they said, "Thank you for fixing it, doctor. I'm so appreciative." And it went on, and they changed their life from that. And then other people would say, "You didn't change anything. It's still bad." And he would show them before and afters, and they would say, "No, but it's still there." And he found out that that was their self-image, that something was wrong inside, not on the outside. And that book teaches you how to steer your mind. That's basically what the title means, Psycho-Cybernetics, which is steering the mind. And I love that book. It really changed everything for me when I read that when I was about 30. That's when my business first started taking off. And I used a lot of the principles that are in that book. So I highly recommend that book. And then The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. You've probably heard of that.
I haven't, actually.
Okay, this one is fantastic, but get ready to be a little angry when you're reading it at yourself.
Really?
Because he says, well, you're not doing it because you're not doing it. You got to do it. Motivation comes after you start. And you're letting resistance overcome you. So what you do if you want to write an article is you go sit down and you start typing. And I've done that. Let me tell you something. When you say, well, I'm going to do that tomorrow because today I've got this and this, but you've got an hour and a half, and you could be doing it. If you'll walk in and just start writing this article, and I'm using writing as an example, it will seem surreal. You won't believe that your hands are moving on the keys. And probably what you're writing doesn't even make sense for the first 5 minutes. Maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes that you're typing and things aren't, and then you're rewarded for that. Amazingly, it starts to come out. And you're like, I'm in this now. And you just type and before you know it, an hour and a half's up and you've typed for an hour and a half. It's like something rewards you for overcoming that barrier that lasts about 2 to 5 minutes. Yeah. And that's what the book's about. It's amazing.
I'll check that out. It sounds a good book. I've read Psycho-Cybernetics, but I've not read that one. In fact, I've not even heard of that, so I'll definitely have a look at that afterward. So, everyone, when you have a busy life, listening to audiobooks is a great way to expand your knowledge in the time that you may be doing other things, such as driving or when you are at the gym. We have a special offer for you of a free audiobook of your choosing. To choose your free audiobook, go to www.freeaudiobookoffer.com. As long as you have not already signed up, then you will qualify for a free audiobook, so do check that out. Now, what I'd like to do now is move forward to the future and just talk about where you think things are going to go in the future. So what one thing would you do with your business if you knew that you could not fail?
Now, this one is interesting because I think I'm doing everything. It's just a matter of implementing it. It's a matter of the thing we were just talking about, taking the actions. Yeah. Can I keep from procrastinating? Can I overcome resistance and do the things that need to be done? As far as making giant leaps, like would I go rent out a huge place in preparation for the future of what I think iScience Fit is going to be? And the answer to that is no, it's not time for that yet. Yeah. So I really feel like I have it paced out pretty good. But it's a matter now of taking the necessary actions. And I think that's what a whole lot of people, probably people listening to this too, I get kind of sweaty when I think about it. Because I think, I wonder if I can overcome that resistance. I wonder if I will be able to. And every day when I get up to write an article or make a YouTube video, and I know I don't really want to get started. It's not that I don't want to do it. It's that I don't want to get started. Then I get a little nervous and I wonder if I'm going to be able to do it. And I think you have to kind of get addicted to that and that feeling of overcoming the resistance because it feels so good after you do it. So that's my answer to that. I know it's kind of indirect, but I think I'm taking the risks. It's just a matter of getting all the things done. Yeah.
Okay. Good answer. I mean, obviously, you talk about that. Obviously, that War of Art book that you talked about is the thing that you have to do that, isn't it? You're really applying that on a day-to-day basis by the sound of it.
I think that it was perfect for me because I used to really say, okay, I'll do that tomorrow because I got too much to do today. I got too much, and I would let that win every time. And that was slowing me down considerably. But now I know the truth the truth is that if I get started within 5 minutes, I'll be on a roll.
Yeah, it's good. Overcoming procrastination is a good thing. So what skill, if you were excellent at it, would help you the most to double your business right now?
Networking, marketing. So easy. And it's not easy. What I'm saying is it's so easy to pick two. And those are the things that I'm concentrating on the most right now because I'm a pretty good writer.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty good speaker. I mean, besides my accent, but and so if I concentrate more on those things, then I'm not going to be fixing the areas that are really going to be the prime movers. And so I want to focus on those weaknesses and improve those. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes you can hire somebody to do the thing you're weak at. And that's great if you can. But if you can't, you have to become at least proficient in it enough to move forward.
Mm-hmm. It's always good to do that and actually get to understand something as well, isn't it? Because then when you do get someone else to do it, at least you understand what they're doing for you rather than just assuming that they're going to do everything right for you. So there's a bit of a balance in that, I think. I always feel it's good to know that, just know enough to know that the person who's doing something for you is doing a good job for you. I don't know if you find that. Do you find that at all?
Oh, yeah. If you can email, let's just say, 5 people in an hour,
yeah,
all right, and maybe you're sending out an email to see if you can get on a podcast or whatever, and maybe you get an assistant to send some of those out for you. Well, if they're doing 2 an hour, then you know something's up.
Yeah, that's
because you know that you can get 5, and maybe they should get 3 to 4,
Yeah.
And so that's how it helps. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Excellent. Jay, what I'd like to do now is I'd like to throw your mind forward into the future. So in 5 years from now, if a well-known business publication was publishing an article on your business after talking to your customers or your suppliers, what would you like it to say about you and your business?
I would like it to talk about how many people, millions of people, that iScience Fit has helped find the truth about fitness, because that's what I'm really all about. You got 1,000 diet books, but there's only a couple of things that are scientifically proven, and that's calories in versus calories out, being consistent with an exercise program, working out a few times a week, those things. And that I've re-educated millions of people, and they're now living healthier, and I don't mean, ripped abs and all that, but they're living healthier lives. They're healthier, they're more productive, and that's what I would like the article to say, that I started that like Walt Disney started Walt Disney World and Walt Disneyland and the Disney Company and the theme. I want iScience Fit to come across as loving, true, honest, and caring.
Excellent. Some good philosophies there. Have you got 3 golden nuggets for me now? What I'm looking for here is I'd like to know what your favourite quote is and how you've applied it in your life.
Fall down 7 times, get up 8. Japanese proverb. It's been around a long time. And that is huge for me because this is weird. I'm about to get weird on you. Get ready, guys. I was talking to a guy who was a mentor of mine it was around Halloween, and I asked him, I said, what kind of monster would you want to be? Because I love Halloween. And he said, I don't know. And he wouldn't even answer me. It was so stupid of a question. But I said, I want to be a werewolf because that is so cool. So action-packed and cool-looking. And I started thinking about business, and I said, but I'm a zombie because I look horrible as I make progress. I'm like tumbling down hills, rolling around, flopping around, but I always get back up, and I always keep going, and that's my strength. Mistake after mistake, I don't quit.
Yeah.
I almost laugh while I cry. I know that sounds insane, too, but I have this picture of my mind of a warrior who's just tattered up, and he's crying, and he's also laughing as he moves forward at the same time because he's not quitting until he dies. And that's what drives me, is the fact that that's who I am, and I can't quit.
Yeah.
And so that's my favorite quote, and I think it applies to that.
Awesome. In fact, you just made me think of something I read today. It said that failure is not about falling down, it's about not getting up. And I think that's a similar sort of thing to what you're saying there, isn't it? If you don't get up after you've failed, that's what failure really is. Everybody fails at some point, ultimately. And
the strange thing is that from my very young age, and this is what inspired me to start working out really originally, was the Rocky movies.
Yeah.
And Sylvester Stallone. And I still, if I want to get fired up, I can watch one of those movies, not because it's accurate boxing, because of what those movies stand for.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful to me. And I don't know if that instilled something in me when I remember I started watching them when I was like 4 or 5, and on up until now I'll watch them. And I don't know if that instilled something in me, but that's kind of the theme of my life.
Okay, excellent. So do you have any favorite online resources that you could share that would be useful for our listeners?
Yeah, a couple. I use Evernote. I really like Evernote. I keep up with everything from workouts to video ideas to podcast guests. I'll stick them in there. It's free. And you can get the paid version, I think, but I don't have the paid version yet. I wouldn't be opposed to getting it.
Yeah.
That's one. And then MyFitnessPal, which I'm not associated with either one of these, but you can track your calories on there, and you can find out what you're eating, whether you need to eat less or more. It's a spectacular app for tracking your food, and you can look up foods when you go out to eat, and it's on your phone, it's on your computer, so that's a super useful app as well.
And what's your best advice to other entrepreneurs? Is there anything else that you'd want to throw in that we've not talked about up to now?
Yeah, it is possible. Wish somebody would have told me that when I was 22, 23 years old. It is possible. You just have to work hard enough. Be prepared for a lot of getting knocked down, because that saying is 7 to 1, right? Get knocked down 7 times and then get up once. It's really going to be like that. Okay? I hate to tell you, but be prepared for that. So if you get knocked down 6 times in a row, say, oh, I'm not even to my limit yet. So, and then the last one is take action. Take action. Do it now. Go for it. You only live once. Unless you're James Bond, then you only live twice.
Yeah.
But go for it. Take action and do it.
Excellent. So everyone, if you didn't manage to get a note of Jay's favourite resources or his favourite book, you can find the links on Jay's show note page. Just go to theentrepreneurway.com and search for Jay or Jay Scott in the search box. Jay, is there anything else that you'd like to add about your business that as we wind down here on this interview?
I don't think so. I mean, just, people can find me at isciencefit.com if you're looking for training. But more than that, I'd rather you go to fulldisclosurefitness.com and check out my free podcast, because you can get to know me through my free stuff. And then on YouTube, you can go to youtube.com/JScottChannel, all one word, or just type J Scott Fitness in the search bar on YouTube and it'll pull up my videos, and subscribe over there.
Okay, thank you. It's been an honour to have you on the show, Jay. You've provided us some real insight and useful information for the entrepreneurs out there. You've inspired us all, and you've certainly given us a lot to think about. So thank you very much.
Hey, thank you for having me, Neil. I had a great time.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to The Entrepreneur Way. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Twitter at Neil D. Ball.